everyone.
Good morning, everyone who just woke up like myself.
So, as you can see, Sandy is not here, as well as Jaime. So, your girl doesn't know exactly where the countdown, the correct one is. So, sorry, Sandy, you don't get your cool intro. But Sandy couldn't be here with us today. She's doing some very important stuff. She is trying to pack right now. But knowing our lovely Sandy, she's probably scrolling through TikTok and Snapchat and playing with the dogs and watching Eric pack up some stuff. But it's okay though, because we're gonna be here. We're gonna support her, and we know that she needs to pack. So, so today I have my lovely guests with me. We have Kaylee here. She is going to be joining us. So, Kaylee, why don't you tell us what kind of made you a crime junkie?
Oh, okay. So I am fascinated with serial killers and how the mind works. I love FBI profiling. I've read all of John Douglas' books, the former FBI agent, on his process as far as establishing FBI profiling.
Oh, wow.
And at one point in my early life, I wanted to work for the FBI and do that exact same thing. So, behavior and why people do the things they do, and being able to look at a crime scene and figure out narrow it down to the kind of person that did this is it's fascinating. And some of the lives of these guys, fascinating.
Wow. So you love serial killers and you love pointing them out. I love it.
Yes, I do.
As she eats her breakfast.
Out of Jason's head.
It's okay. So love that about you. I love crimes just because of it, not to make me sound like a weird person. I just love when bad things happen. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll be watching movies and like if someone gets like murdered or someone getting slashed, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But I mean, it's not cool for the other person, but it's really cool. It's interesting. And just kind of hearing like people's mindsets of how they got to that point. It's like, you were really that crazy? So, which kind of brings us to today's topic. If no one kind of knows what we're talking about today we're talking about the story of Gypsy Rose. So Gypsy Rose was a young girl, a young sweet girl. Start there. She was a young sweet girl who her mom is Dee Dee. Oh, look, and then there's Sandy. Thank y'all for sitting in. Love you, Sandy. Sorry about your intro. We got to figure that out for the future.
Have fun moving.
Yes. Have fun on TikTok. All right. So the story of Gypsy Rose. Basically, she is a young girl that was born completely healthy. Her mom's name is Dee Dee. And of course, her dad was there. Her dad isn't a big part of the story, so we won't go too much into him. We want to focus on Dee Dee right now. Oh, hey, Mr. Pineapples.
Hello, ladies. Good morning. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Kids happen.
Oh, that they
Can't
do.
relate, but I understand. So, Dee Dee, her story is basically really simple. She was a one-time beauty queen. She met her husband. They met. They got married. At 24, she had a beautiful baby girl, completely healthy, and her baby girl was Ruby Rose. Gypsy Rose. I can't read my own handwriting. It's fine.
Ruby Rose.
Sorry, we're not talking about Netflix series here.
I kind of like that name. It has a
Right?
ring to it.
It does. All right, put a pin in that one.
For your next thriller novel.
Okay, so Dee Dee, she was normal. Gypsy, she was healthy. So then some time went by, and after her and her husband got a divorce, they broke up. Kaylee's enjoying her breakfast, Jaime. From there, things just got really weird with Gypsy. So her dad would try to have sporadic visits with Gypsy, but they could never be left alone. At all. And that's one thing that really bugged him. But of course, he didn't want to make like a big deal about it. From what he knew about Gypsy is he knew that she had leukemia, and he knew that she had what's that hard word? The muscular
dystrophy.
Dystrophy, that one. That's what he knew in his head. So when he saw Gypsy, he enjoyed what he could. Dee Dee being there would bother him, but he would let that go. Well, then in 2005.
But you know what? Hold on real quick. That was just really weird. So, being a man myself, and like, of course I'm not there, but that's the joy of having a show, because you can kind of talk about whatever you want and spin whatever way you want. Creative licensing, creative difference, whatever you want to say. So I think though so I know for me as a father, that would be really weird to not be able to see my daughter, any kind of restrictions like that. Now, I'm not saying that that's not what normally happens, but just not being able to see my daughters would be weird and crazy and hurtful. And I would raise all kinds of flags if Dr. Pineapples was telling me some weird stuff all of a sudden, like that whole story about the birthday later on. I don't know if we're gonna get to that later on, or if we already did, but like that was just bizarre. Like if that's what Dr. Pineapples would tell me to do about one of the girls, I'd kind of be like, no, that's okay. I'm not going to do that. No. She's 18. I don't know why would I play like she's 14?
Yes, exactly.
So
it's
yeah.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah, I know it was weird watching this and listening to this, because at points I'm just like how, guys, this wasn't like 1950 or anything like that. This was 2000s.
Yes.
How in the world in the 2000s does stuff like this happen? This is exactly how.
Is he okay?
Mr. Pineapples? Are you okay? You look like this cold case really froze you a little bit, but all right. So while he figures that part out, so we'll kind of go on and then we'll come back to what he was saying whenever he comes back. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina came through and completely took their home, took everything. Every document they had in their household, everything that Katrina could ruin, basically, she did. So then after that, they ended up going to Springfield, Missouri, where they resided. They were in a shelter for a while there. Well, then, what do you know? Habitat for Humanity decided, hey, we see this family is going through a lot, because, Dee Dee, their only source of income for Dee Dee was going to be donations, is going to be people just kind of giving to them, basically. She didn't work because she had to care for Gypsy. And so of course, she got a gift from Habitat for Humanity, and it was a beautiful home, a beautiful pink home with a ramp, with everything that Gypsy would have needed. And that was gifted to them. Gypsy went through her life meeting people, going to galas, going to Disney World, going to baseball games. She even got a check from Miranda Lambert for $3,500 from her personal account.
Who's that?
Miranda Lambert.
Country singer.
That explains it.
Yes.
I don't listen to country guys.
So, got a check from them. Literally, just they met her and they were like, we want to help you out. I'm gonna write you this check out of my personal account. Boom, there you go.
Miranda, if you're watching this, you can send me a check, and I'm not going to be lying about anything. Okay.
He needs it to buy more pickles. He'll be honest.
Speaking of which, they ran out of pickles at the place that I was getting them at, and I'm like, God dog it.
Did you ask for when new shipment was coming in?
They're no more. It was a seasonal thing only.
Now I know what to send you for Christmas.
Are they special pickles? Are these special
yeah.
pickles? Oh.
Oh, you know what? My wife done. She was on my webcam last night, and she got all my. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Look at his little pickles back there. His best made pickles.
Yes. So the pickles you can only get in Texas, or it costs an exorbitant amount of money to get them shipped up here to Illinois when I order them. So, but if you're in Texas and want to send them to me, it's much cheaper.
Just put them in a box and go.
Well, then I'll invite you to my trip to DFW to the pickle factory.
Oh my gosh. Give me some of that sandwich spread, please. Give me a jar of that dill pickle sandwich spread. I want some. I can't find it online.
This is my best friend. She's a pickle fanatic, and I'm going to take her.
I've been tweeting to Dill Pickles or to Best Made Pickles for years, and I keep telling them, send me pickles every month, and I'll make sure people know who you are, and I'll do it for free if you just, keep me a steady flow of pickles.
We digress.
I don't know why Joe's not on here. He can't say anything. This isn't a tangent. This is an integral part of the story. If you're watching this, okay? Anyway, sorry, go on.
Anyways, so basically they got a lot given to them, just out of people being kind and just wanting to give forward.
And wasn't there? So was this the same couple? I was trying to look and I couldn't verify it, but I swear that the picture with them in the helicopter was the same picture that was used for a Facebook post some years ago about people who were like lying to the mirror, saying that they were dying or sick or whatever, and they'd get all these trips and everything else. I swear that looked like the same pair. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. No way. Do y'all know what Kaylee, do you know what she's talking about? Do you know what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So on Facebook some years ago, there was a story and a couple pictures, one mainly that was floating around Facebook about this family that was basically cheating people out of trips and money and everything. Basically the story they were discussing. But I didn't realize, doing the research for this, you get a little in depth. But before I was like, man, I feel like I've heard this story before and things. And Make-A-Wish, thank you. That's and so they were on Facebook. They were going around being told, you got these people cheated everyone out of it, and everyone believed them. And I remember when they were going through the Facebook circles saying, pray for this person, pray for this kid, and all this. Man, so now that you confirmed that, I'm like, I knew it.
So as we can all tell, something fishy is coming at the end.
Oh.
We're not there yet, Henry.
Sorry, I get a little ahead of myself.
It's okay. It's fine.
He's just excited. He's so excited.
Kelly's like, tell me more.
Okay.
So to start everything, basically, Gypsy Rose, her mom is the only person that she had for the longest time. That was her best friend. That was the only person in her life. And she met a neighbor. Her name was Aaliyah, and she lived across the street, and she would kind of watch them every now and then. And Gypsy Rose would watch Aaliyah and just see her with her friends and her boyfriend. And, right? Well, she wanted to be, she was like, hey, what are boys like? And she would ask her, have you ever kissed anybody? Do you have a boyfriend? Asking her all kinds of questions about boys. Well, Gypsy Rose decided to make a dating profile. Secretly, of course, because her mother would kill her. So she made a dating profile, and she met a boy on there.
Ooh.
And her and this boy would talk about having a snow wedding, and talked about children, and talked about all kinds of things. Her and this boy were soulmates, apparently, because she let him know everything that was going on, how sick she was, and if her mother was mean to her and everything at all.
Yeah, she had told him in messaging at first, she was like, hey, so I'm in a wheelchair. I'm really sick. I can't walk.
Lola's excited too.
That scared me. And then I was like, what is Omar doing? Why is he howling like?
We haven't gotten there yet, Lola. We haven't gotten to that part
Goodness.
yet.
I was like, oh my
gosh. So she had mentioned all these things to him, and then she was like, is that going to be a problem? And he said, no. I'm not saying that that's stuff that I'm not trying to insinuate any kind of red flag type stuff. I'm just saying is that as part of the meeting online that occurred.
Yes. So of course they got really close, and it got to where Gypsy was like, I want to meet him and I want him to meet my mom. And it wasn't no, hey, we're gonna like mention it to her. No, they were like, you know what, we just need to surprise her. Like the best way is just to lay it on her. So there was a premiere of the movie Cinderella.
The live action version.
Yes, the live action version. So this kind of shows y'all how long ago this was, or how not long ago this was. It was a live action version, and Gypsy dressed up as Cinderella because, of course, her mom would treat her like a child. She was not a child, but her mom swore that her mindset, everything she was. She dressed her up as Cinderella. They went to the movie. Well, he was just gonna bump into them.
That's real sly. That makes me think of things that I used to do with my mom whenever I was young and trying to play things off. Like, oh, Mom, they asked if I could stay the night. I didn't even know they're gonna be here. Is that okay? So
wink.
Yeah. So she was definitely a teen. She definitely had teen tendencies.
Yes.
Oh gosh, I need to remember that when my daughter comes around.
Right? You're going to be going to a movie one day. You're going to bump into someone. You're going to be like,
I'm going to act unfazed, y'all. I'm going to be looking at them, whoever he or she is. I'm going to be like, you think I don't know what's going on?
I read about Gypsy. I know what's going on here.
Oh God, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Okay.
So
I'm glad I have a son,
right?
Not a daughter.
Hey, you never know, Mama. You never know.
That's why I'm on him like white on rice.
So of course, after that, Mama, Miss Dee Dee, was not happy. She was very jealous because he was getting all the attention. She wouldn't stop talking about him. She would get upset with her and tell her that she needs to drop it and it's never going to happen. And, would rub into her face about how she's so sick and all this stuff. And so, of course, Gypsy, she was not going to let that stop her. She got to a point where she was like, I like this guy. And so that happened. Well, one day it was a silent day in their neighborhood. And one day there was a Facebook post that some friends of theirs saw. And the Facebook post said, "What, Sandy, I don't know your rules on your show, but it straight up said that beach is dead." And the neighbors who saw that, or like they were close friends of theirs, they were like, what is this? Like, did their Facebook get hacked? Because it was a Facebook that Gypsy and Dee Dee had together. They're like, what happened? Like, is everything okay? Well, then right after that was a second post. And Sandy, thank you, girl. Thank you. Okay. So right after that was a second post. It said, I fucking slashed that pig.
Hush your mouth. You talk to your mom with your mouth? Oh, cochina. Ay, muriosa. Dolores.
Sandy said, I have to put the facts out there. Sandy said, so It said, slash that pig.
It's like
And
watching your little sister curse for the first time. You're like, wait, what?
Sandy would be so proud. So it's intense. It's intense.
Yeah. I'm
It
sorry. Keep
said,
going. Let me let you keep going. Get it out.
Context is important here.
only facts. Only facts.
Oh gosh.
It's a sentence enhancer.
It is.
Sentence enhancers.
Oh look, see? Que le tira un chancla. Dolores, right now, right across the screen.
Oh goodness.
Oh yeah, you're telling me.
And it said, and raped her sweet innocent daughter.
All right. Let's
So,
back up a little bit.
yes, we're stopped there. And then,
What? Thank you, Mama. Sure. So
I mean, go ahead.
before we get here, let me tell you about a little story that happened earlier with not Gab, with Gypsy and Mama. And so at some point earlier, she meets this boy, and they end up getting caught by Mom. So after Mom finds out about them being together, she at one point she takes help me with the names.
Gypsy.
She takes Gypsy and locks her in her room and ties her to her bed, like ties her legs to the bed so she can't get out. And I don't remember if it was just a couple days or 2 weeks, but it was some amount of time like that where she didn't feed her for 2 days, yelled at her, she chained her to the bed. She told her if she ever she destroyed her laptop and her phone. She told her if she ever had a relationship again or did anything like that, she was going to take her hand and take a hammer to her fingers. All of them. So not only was she, a few of the things that you mentioned, but she had told her she was going to break her hand so she could never talk to him again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh, crazy. Yeah. So, okay.
So, yes. And she would be here with the coat hanger.
Oh, yeah.
That's a plus.
Yeah. I've been there. I
feel like it's one of those things like, I mean, is that really new or?
You grab what's closest to you sometimes.
Right? If the chancla's not there, you grab that hanger. It's fine.
Oh, I usually just got both. There was no chancla, never not close enough to my mom. Love you, Mom.
So when those posts came out, automatically the friends, they wanted to do a well check.
Mm-hmm.
So they called the police and they said, hey, we need a well check on our neighbors. No one, it doesn't show that anyone is home, but their car is there. So the police showed up and they found Dee Dee dead. She was dead.
Dee Dee was D-E-D.
She was D-E-D.
That's not funny. I'm sorry.
And I thought it kind of was. Anyway, so Dee Dee was dead and Gypsy was missing. So, of course, no one knew what was going on inside the house. No one knew Gypsy got chained to her bed. Nobody knew she was getting threatened by her mom. No one knew. All they knew was what was outside of that little pink house. They knew that in their heads, they knew Dee Dee was a good mom and Gypsy was this sick little girl. That's all they ever knew.
Mm-hmm.
So when this came out, of course, everyone was concerned. They're like, oh my gosh, what about Gypsy? Like she didn't have her wheelchair because, of course, Gypsy's in a wheelchair. She doesn't walk.
Right. Remember, she's been on TV. She hasn't gone to school. I think she was pulled out when she was like, 8 years old or second grade, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
she's received these houses, checks, gone on trips, all these things that would point to her not being able to walk. Yeah.
Yes. So, of course, she doesn't have her wheelchair. She doesn't have her medication, nothing. And then all of a sudden, they track these Facebook posts. You know, FBI goes in, do their little thing, and it all goes to the house of Mr. Nick Godejohn, or Jodegon, however you say his name. We're just going to say Nick.
Okay.
Nick is the lovely boyfriend that Gypsy met on her dating site.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you know what? We're going to go to this house. They went to Nick's house. It took a little bit. It was kind of a standoff. Then they had the SWAT show up. They made their way into the house. And they then arrested Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who they found?
Not Dee Dee.
Not Dee Dee. They found Gypsy.
Ah, thought you'd get there. And he had her tied up to the bed too, right?
No.
Oh, no?
Definitely not.
He had her tied to the chair.
Definitely not.
Oh,
I mean, maybe behind closed doors they did that.
Hush! Oh, you ladies.
She said it.
Well, it said they talked about BDSM.
So that's a good point. Actually, her first male friend that she met online, they were into BDSM. She didn't know what it was at the time.
Mhm.
She just highly impressionable, whatever you want to say. A young woman going on the internet, finding out about sex and boys and different things. This first young man gives her the attention that she's never had ever, and starts not reciprocating, but really liking it and wanting to respond to it. And so they had a lot of fantasies that dealt with BDSM. And I know for a lot of folks, I was kind of like, what does BDSM even mean? And so I was like, okay, it's bondage, discipline, bondage, discipline, dominance, and submission, and sadomasochism, which is all just complicated to me. Anyway, it just means that
A lot of words.
yeah. I'm not even going to describe what it all means, but I'm just going to say, if you want to go do your own internet searches, go do your own internet searches. But that's what so imagine being a young woman, first interaction, relationship type with a boy, and the topic of BDSM comes up. So zero knowledge and experience on relationships. And that's what it was. So it
50 Shades of Grey right there.
Yeah. They like that freaky stuff.
I don't know about all that, but anyway, yeah. So that was intense. That was the first boy. Nick happens to be the second boy that she met online at the Christian dating website, by the way.
Who had a rap sheet, though.
ChristianBingo.com.
Yeah.
He had a couple run-ins with the law as well.
Yeah.
According to
gosh.
Wikipedia.
No, he did. So he was in trouble because he was at a McDonald's watching some inappropriate content while touching himself. He was masturbating at the McDonald's because that's a thing, I guess.
Apparently.
I wouldn't know about that.
I guess just the smell of the French fries gets to him. I don't know.
Because he was loving it.
Something else that we missed later on is that she ends up meeting Nick, boy number 2. She ends up meeting Nick later on at the McDonald's while her mom and her were eating there. They decide to slip away she slips away to the women's room, where she ends up losing her virginity to Nick.
See, I didn't know that.
McDonald's in the bathroom.
That's just not sanitary.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I tried not to read it or, process that at all. And I'm still doing good at processing, but just the thought, it's just kind of like, just even the surface thought, it's like, oh, that's so gross. Like, I can't handle shaking hands with people without having sanitizer in my pocket real quick. And this is pre-COVID. That's just normal stuff to me. I can't handle touching doors, much less having sex in a McDonald's. bathroom.
In a bathroom.
That's just.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess it should go without saying that it definitely is not safe for work, guys. If you are gonna look at the BDSM stuff, okay?
Yep.
Not safe for work.
It's right, Dolores. It is really gross. It is really gross. So make sure you all tell your kids not to lose their virginity in a McDonald's bathroom. Maybe.
How about just not
wanna-
go to McDonald's bathroom anymore?
I don't even want to think about my child losing his virginity right now.
What in the freaky world are y'all talking about? I'm just saying, just don't go to McDonald's, maybe, period. I'm okay with that.
Use a drive-through.
Just go through the drive-through. Stay in the car, go through the drive-through.
So yeah, anyhow, that's just a little backstory to
I didn't know about the McDonald's
Gypsy's,
bathroom.
Interaction with boys, and all this before she was 18.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, where were we? They found her.
Yeah,
house.
She was not tied up to the couch or to the bed or anywhere else.
They were just hanging out, basically.
Yeah, eating some burgers and fries.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about McDonald's bathroom now. That's just gross.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
All right.
Sorry.
So, anyways, of course they went in there. They found him. So the only thing is that there were multiple sources that said Gypsy was not a victim. She had to have something to do with the murder of Dee Dee. But of course, like we said, no, everyone thought there's no way, she's in a wheelchair, she can't walk, she cannot do anything for herself. So whenever the dad found out, though, about everything that happened, he was surprised. He honestly didn't. His reaction kind of surprised me because he was like, what? I can't believe it. It wasn't really like a mad, like, I don't know. It was, I mean, from a dad's point of view, how would you take that if you found out, hey, it's possible your daughter killed your ex-wife?
I'd beat the living daylights out of her until she told me the truth.
Right?
But, I mean, that's, I'm Mexican. That's kind of how we do things.
That's true.
Kind of what happened. No, but I'd beat the living daylights out of her and then hug her tightly and be like, tell me this isn't true now.
Yeah.
I think it would be one of those things. And so here's the thing: is so many times we talk, Sandy and I, when we've done these shows with our guests and stuff, and I'm thinking about the kids, I'm thinking about the relationships, I'm thinking about, some of them, they just get rid of the kids. To be honest with you, it's so gross, Sandy. Why do you do this to me? Others, though, I'm just kind of like, yeah, at some point, it's kind of like the same thing. I talk to people who sometimes they have father issues, relationship issues with their fathers. I help out a lot of the young men in my community and things like that. And so, one of the things that I've told them is something that my father-in-law once shared with me. He was like, as a man gets older, he starts to realize the mistakes he's made in his life, and he wants to repair things with his children. And he thinks that there's never any opportunity for a mended relationship with their parent. And so the best that they hope with, or the most that they hope for sometimes, is even getting a hello in a very not loving way. And so I do think that on some level, for this guy as a father, he's thinking it's still my daughter, regardless of what's happened, and he doesn't know the truth. And so I'm thinking there's no evidence that I saw that made him out to be a bad guy. There's nothing that I saw that made him out to be someone who was not trying to be in her life or caring or loving or anything. It was all controlled by Dee Dee, and him being apart from her, he tried to do what he thought was best at the time, which was listen to Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately that happens. Fathers sometimes get the short end of the stick in terms of custody and when it comes to children, because a lot of states they're very pro-mom.
Yeah.
And if CPS is not involved or anything like that, and the mother isn't showing signs of mistreatment or in any way, then there isn't going to be any I guess, skepticism seen or suspicions coming
Yeah.
about. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad for her dad that he was left in the dark about this entire thing and
Mhm.
led to believe that she was being well taken care of with all these, issues. And, he put a lot of faith into that relationship that his daughter was okay.
Was okay.
So
Was
I feel bad
actually in
for him.
capable hands. Was in
Right.
like the best hands possible.
Yeah.
You know, Gypsy later said at one point, she was like, I felt bad for my mom at times, something like this, because I really wish I had been sick because she would have been the best mother for someone who really was sick. And I was like, man, and her father was, I mean, yeah, he was an okay guy actually, because he also, he had another family after he divorced Dee Dee. He went on and got remarried, had 2 children. Gypsy had 2 half brother and sister, and a stepmother. And she and her stepmother would actually get along very well, very well. She would tell her stepmom, I really, really like you. You really, how does she say? You really listen to me. You really let me think for myself and feel for myself, and you really just let me be me. And I feel like you love me and like me for me. And so she would later on, she'd share, how that made her feel and how that was important. Her stepmom would later share about some of those interactions and things. And so, yeah, her stepmom was the one who realized later on. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, Gab, so stop me if I am.
Okay.
When they found her, when they found Nick and
Gypsy.
thank you, Gypsy, they would go back, they'd realize that she was okay because she was standing up, right? Freaked the living daylights out of them.
Mhm.
No one believed this. Everyone was like, wait, what? Because there was a whole national media news coverage thing that was put on there because they thought she was missing, and they find her, and then like dominoes, things just started knocking down and being like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They show up in court, and friends and family are like, wait, what the heck? She's walking. They're like,
And of
wait a
course,
minute.
this is televised, so it's people
Yeah.
not just in court; it's everywhere.
Everywhere. So Miranda, sorry to burst your bubble. Make a wish. You've been had. All these other things. They all are just finding out for the first time on this live thing happening. So there's that. They go back to the house to kind of obviously to assess the crime scene and everything else. It's a hoarded house. The house there's hoarding tendencies. There's stuff everywhere. But it was the stepmother who found a locked door in the hallway, and when she opened that door, she found there was the most meticulous, not even a pantry, medicine closet that she saw. There was medicines lined up, all labeled. They even had labels with like things that were saying, don't forget to shake this, baby. Not comma, shake this, comma, baby, Joe. Okay. Because some of the medicine, so she would write notes on these medicines so that as a little baby was reading it, so she knew. And they were like from the top to the bottom. I think we have a picture somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you see if you can pull that up real quick, Gabbs, and I will, because it's in the. Oh no, I got it.
Okay.
But anyhow, so there's this. I thought Sandy sent it to me. Okay.
It's crazy. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I think I have a lot with my allergies and ibuprofen and.
Yeah. Look at that. That's a closet in the hallway stacked from top to bottom of nothing but things that are medicines and therapeutic, whatever you want to call those, remedies and stuff like that. But yeah, from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And many of these had little notes, like I said earlier, had little notes written on them. Like you can't make it out right here, but you can see like there's some little just scribble there and right there too. Like they were notes for Gypsy to read. It was her stepmom who found this door and was like, what in the world? And so.
Yeah. And all these medications are for Gypsy because she was sick with all these things. She's sick with what is it all? It's leukemia,
muscular
asthma,
dystrophy, asthma,
hearing and speech impairment, all kinds of stuff.
and you ask yourself, you wonder, because how did she get through all that? Because there's video, she's missing teeth. Her skin looks very pale. She's very frail looking, very skinny. Her voice is super high pitched. She has all these markers that make it seem she's sick and young.
Yeah.
So how did so then the thing comes out is this girl really sick? And the answer is, I guess you already know, right? It's no, she's not sick.
The only thing she has wrong with her is a lazy eye.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. Out of everything that she's gone through, the feeding tube, the wheelchair,
the feeding
all the medication.
And you wonder, how in the world did this young woman go so long without it? And remember, there's two sides to this, right? How do you feel about this? What do you take away from this? Because she not only had a hand in murdering her mother, but she also is a victim. So she suffers from what's called Munchausen by proxy syndrome.
I'm glad you said it, because I don't know how to say that, and I would have butchered it.
So
just like Dee Dee got butchered.
Oh gosh, stop. So regular Munchausen syndrome is basically where you make yourself sick for people to be sensitive to you and to give you things and attention, for attention. So you act sick even though you're not, for attention. And we're not talking about like I'm just putting the thermometer under the light and I'm acting like, oh, I've got a headache or whatever.
Put the blow dryer to your forehead.
Yeah. We're talking legit, like people who ingest things and do things, extreme things to themselves to give the effect that they are sick, so that when they go to the hospital, they get the right prescriptions, they get the right treatments and all this stuff, but for things that do not exist. And then they do what's called doctor hopping. They'll go to a doctor and they'll find one until they get one that agrees with what the symptoms was, is willing to treat them on those symptoms.
And plus, if you think about it, with Gypsy and Dee Dee, their doctors had to go based off of any record that Dee Dee had, because everything that they had was lost in Katrina.
Yes.
So they really didn't have like a hospital to get in contact with, doctors to get in contact with, because all records were lost. So Dee Dee had this binder that she would hold all of Gypsy's information in.
Is that kind of what Momager holds for you whenever you go do like a photo shoot or your model sessions?
Yep. She says this is the color you don't put her in.
So wink your right eye if Momager is putting you into Munchausen by proxies. Okay. Your other right eye. I'm just playing. So she had all those things. And so we talked about what Munchausen is. Munchausen by proxy syndrome means that it's the same thing except you're putting it onto someone else. So she forced her daughter. It is a form of child abuse. It's a form of abuse. It usually is found with people who take care of children or elderly people. And so what happens is they make these elderly people and children seem like they're sick. Exactly what we're hearing about with Gypsy, that makes it seem like they're sick when they're not. There was actually a doctor who looked at this and thought, like literally scribbled a note and said, I think this child may have Munchausen by proxy syndrome. But when the doctor was trying to question the mother and the book and everything, the mother ended up leaving and again doing the doctor hopping thing. She just left the doctor's office and went somewhere else.
Because that doctor she was like, this is not right.
Yeah. It was actually a guy. It was actually a man doctor. I can't remember, some sort of neuro doctor. Anyway, but yeah, he was the only one who found it. Everyone else was kind of like, okay, whatever. Oh, and in the medicine cabinet or closet for her, they also found a doctor's notepad.
Yeah. So that's one thing too. It's like, okay, so how many of these medications were actually prescribed to Gypsy and how many were not? Like, did you?
And you know about those, Gabbs, right? Like you're in a doctor's office, like those things aren't just laying around anywhere for you to write a little notepad on, right?
No. No, they're not. And let's be honest. I'll be very honest. I love my doctors to death, but their handwriting, sometimes you cannot read it out. And sometimes their signatures are just some scribbles. And so that's the thing, too. It's like you get a hold of one of those things. And I mean, I've seen Grey's Anatomy. And on Grey's Anatomy, there was a story where one of the sisters got a hold of his prescription pad and was writing herself prescriptions. And I mean, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy.
What do you think, Kaylee? What are you thinking? What's running through your mind? Ice cream?
She said this woman's crazy.
No, it's just I've heard other stories that are like similar to that. With it was a while ago. I want to say I read somewhere where like a woman, well, she liked the attention of having a baby, or when the baby died or something, she grew fond of having that attention, and so she would have babies, and then she would murder them, or somehow find a way to for them to pass away, so that she could continue that attention for having the kiddos pass away. I think I read something like that.
Oh my gosh!
He's
a little person.
But it doesn't surprise me with, the mentality, the mental behavior as far as wanting to seek attention.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously an extreme case, involving, a young child who's manipulated, obviously. And now she's like, basically she's fucked for life. This is how I'm going to put it.
She's not going to be. I guess I should say it that way. She will not be forever.
Mentally, though.
What's our time looking like? 47?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and share. Or you go first, Gabbs, on whatever your list is, just to make sure I don't overlap my stuff.
Okay. Basically, so we don't run out of time, I just want to get to what happened.
Sure.
Like how it all came about. So there was a conversation between Gypsy and Nick. And this conversation they found in text message. Gypsy said, "This shit's going to go down tonight." And she put just gloves and knife with a question mark. And he said duct tape too to muffle her.
Oh my gosh.
And Gypsy said, "I'll pre-cut." So that's the conversation they had before all this happened. And then, so apparently they went into the house, and Gypsy, of course, she made sure to pre-cut the duct tape though for him, just so that way he wouldn't have to do that. Got the duct tape ready. She hid in the bathroom, and he stabbed Dee Dee over and over and over again. Or as Sandy says, she just ran into the knife. Over and over and over again.
She tripped and fell on it.
Yes. But the
30
is,
times.
Yes.
Or 18 times. 18 times.
18 times.
Yeah.
Yes. Gypsy, she had actually had to take some medication to calm herself down. So when she was hiding in the bathroom, she could hear her mom yelling her name and like yelling for help. But just something in Gypsy, she was like, "I'm not going to go. Like, I'm not going to go help her." And so after he killed her, I think what trips me out the most is after he killed Dee Dee, they then go into Gypsy's room and decide to do the nasty, right?
Have sex, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bump uglies.
Right next door.
Please, that's one way of putting it. I mean, like having an ugly heart, whatever spirit thing like that to do that, and then to go do that.
Yes. Right next door to where Dee Dee is lying in a pool of her own blood. Like,
it makes sense though. Yeah, in my mind, the psychological aspect of it makes sense. It's kind of like, okay, there's a really intense emotions going on during those things, and you think about when you want to relieve a grand amount of stress sometimes. Yeah. You don't believe me? Wait till next year when all the babies be coming.
I know. I'm waiting. We're gonna have, instead of like the baby boomers, we're gonna have pandemics.
Is that what they are? Is that what they
Baby
call them?
COVID.
We're gonna have little mini COVIDs running around.
Pandemies.
Pandemies. There we go.
Pandemic.
Sorry.
Pandemies. So I don't know. That's what trips me out. Like, instead of, because I understand after they killed Dee Dee, did their thing, and then they compared it to like Hansel and Gretel, how they leave breadcrumbs. They were basically leaving hints here and there, trying to run away from the crime, but really they were just like leading the police to them. But then at the same time, both of their mindsets were not mature enough to know, like, hey, I probably shouldn't leave my name. Hey, I probably shouldn't show my face on camera, anything like that. Probably shouldn't cause a scene yelling at a cab driver
Oh yeah.
like, they better get you where you need to go. It's just
There's video of them actually everywhere after they left the house, showing
yes.
because she was even wearing a wig, trying to act weird, and people were like, "Yeah, she just seemed weird. She just seemed like a little kid in a big person world." And yeah,
At the hotel, at the Greyhound, at all kinds of places they were on video. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Like,
Because they didn't want to get caught. They were real. She truly, guys, you have to remember this kid.
literally,
She
yeah.
is not like. It's so hard. The line between victim and perpetrator is so blurry with her, because yes, she had a hand in murdering her mother, but she too was a victim for almost 2 decades kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Good
And see,
Lord.
she was 19 when all this happened, but she was actually 19. Her insurance stated that she was 23, but just the way that she was raised and everything, her mindset was of like a 15-year-old.
No. Her mom forced her to believe she was younger than what she was. And sometime earlier on, she just was like, wait, I thought my birthday was in 1993, whatever. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just forgive me on that. And then she'd be like, at times later, she would think something was weird. Like the age and the birthdays were always off for her.
It never matched up.
Well, it never settled well with her. And so she was like, I just believed my mom. I just heard my mom. And it's easy for us to sit here and be like, you're an idiot. But you want your children to trust you. You want your children to follow your, what you tell them to do, to trust you, to follow you, to all that stuff. And so she was being, for lack of a better word, indoctrinated since she was a young girl to do this. And the whole thing that started this whole journey, guys, like after the divorce and whatnot, Gypsy was on a trampoline at a friend's house, and she fell off the trampoline, and her mom went over there to coddle her, and rightfully so, and to check on her and all that stuff. And after that, it was never the same. After that, Mama had, you can't walk anymore. She was 8 years old when that happened. And the little girl was like, but I can walk and stuff. And then this is from Gypsy telling us this, this information. But also Dad kind of
collaborated.
Confirming this information. And so it all rang well. It was like, yes, she had, after that, she went into a wheelchair, and she would tell her mom she could walk, and then her mom would be like, no, you can't. The doctors want you to stay there. Yeah, exactly.
Did your speaker falling?
Yeah. We do.
What?
We do. In our families, that's how it rolls. Like, you get in trouble for getting hurt. Thank you, Sandy. Corroborated. Thank you, golly. And so, that's what started it. For whatever reason, that's what kicked it off. And from that, her 8-year-old self falling off the trampoline, kick-started a snowball effect of Munchausen by proxy syndrome.
Yeah.
Which is legit crazy. Like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use crazy in my house, but legit out of this world.
Oh,
I'm off my box.
and that you're good.
Sorry.
And I think that's the sad thing too, is of course her growing up, of course she's gonna listen to her mom. Her mom is all she had. And she always believed, my mom is doing this because she loves me.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, I need to listen to my mom. She loves me. She knows what she's talking about. She didn't have anyone else to look to talk to. She did. She had her boyfriend, but it wasn't really one of those things. She didn't want to out her own mom. She was like, no, like there's a reason for this. She loves me. Of course, Gypsy knew she could walk, but if she was walking, sneaking around the house, the second she heard her mom or something, she would sit down in her chair and try to pretend like she wasn't walking. She didn't want her mom to, one, beat her, or two, get upset.
Yeah, and then there was other things too. Like, so as growing up, she you guys would think, how does she know she's sick? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, leukemia, muscular dystrophy, how in the world would she not realize at some point just, well, the thing is because her mom, like, if you've seen these pictures of her, she is really thin, really tiny. Like, you would almost think, yeah, she's 14 and 13, even though she's really 18 and 19. It was easy because all the medicines that she was getting pumped. I mean, again, remember that closet. She was getting pumped with medicines all her life that she did not need. And that does a number on your liver. It does a number on your kidneys. It does a number on your brain. It does a number on everything. Everything. And so, so you'll see pictures of her. She looks like she's missing teeth and things like that. So those are real. And you think, what happened there? And it was like, okay. So there was likely some of the medications, like the leukemia medications that she was taking when she was younger, they made her teeth fall out. And so there was times when she even thought when they met with that doctor that was like, was bringing up the questions about the Munchausen by proxy syndrome, she had even said she doubted that she was sick and was wondering until one night she was brushing her teeth and a tooth fell out. And I think there was like one or two teeth that came out. And so even though she was doubting everything when that happens, she's brushing, it's blood, it's coming out and stuff. Trauma does things to help things imprint in our brain. So now it's like, I doubt it, but now that I'm starting to see some physical manifestations myself, oh gosh, now that's just sealed everything that her mom has been telling her.
Yep.
And so no more doubt. No more doubt.
Yeah. Oh, the life she could have lived. It's just,
well, let's talk about that actually. So, young Nick is he is tried and sentenced to life for first-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll never see the light of day again. And Gypsy is sentenced to second-degree murder, 10 years. Yeah.
2024 is when she's eligible for parole, or she gets out, or.
Mm-hmm. So she and her her stepmom, her dad, and her half brothers and sisters get along great. She's been doing well. She is in Indiana, in Chillicothe Penitentiary. She was even engaged at one point to a pen pal that they do through the prison system, but then they called it off. But then they reconciled, and the wedding's back on.
Why did he find out she was crazy?
I mean, you got to think about something here. She has been upfront with what she's been the whole time from the first.
That is one thing I noticed.
She's like, I got problems. Yes. Okay. Are we going to have an issue? Okay. All right. Just letting you know then. So I have to believe he obviously knows who she is, and it's no secret.
Dear pen pal, I did help murder my mom, but yes. I am sweet.
And again, it's so hard, guys. It's so hard not to be, at least to me, not to be sympathetic. Like, I think you got to put yourself in a situation there. I'm not saying it's okay for any of you to go out there and kill your mom or your father or anyone else, okay? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying...
I mean, did you see this comment, though? Did you see this comment,
only 13, though? She won't believe. Oh, I know, Dolores. I know. Oh, yeah. So, it's not that... again, that victim mentality, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, seriously, she was a victim, guys. She was I mean, what
She was
would you feel like
crazy.
if you take the murder part away and treat that separately? This poor kid was made to be sick for so many years just so that mom could have her attention.
But
Ego
one
stoked.
thing, one thing that was brought up in an interview, and it made sense because I asked myself the same thing. They asked Gypsy, why not just when y'all are in public? Because obviously they were in public together. They would go to the mall together. They would do stuff like, why not just stand up and walk? Why not just show like, hey, like I can walk. I am healthy. Like I can do things on my own. Why not do that? Why murder? Why not just be like, hey, my mom's a fraud. Look at me. I'm walking.
I can tell you, based on previous episodes that I've done with Sandy and talking with, and not talking, reading and listening to people talk about these things, like people do these things because they think that the alternative is worse than death. So Sandy and I covered this guy that just totally, I'm sorry, he offed all three of his children, his wife, and his mother because he thought telling the community that they were poor was worse than them being dead. And so then he ends up off and leaving, and he doesn't get caught for 50 years. Starts a whole new life.
It almost sounds like she could have suffered from like Stockholm syndrome as well. In a way, I mean, she was a sort of a prisoner in her own home, but a prisoner in the sense that she also felt that sympathy for her captor, which is Stockholm syndrome.
So, you mean Gypsy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes,
she loved her mom, and she
yeah
wanted to, I guess, believe and trust her mom, and that's her only caregiver.
Yeah.
So in a sense, so she had these feelings towards her mother, and I guess like you're saying, feared things that were worse than outing her, or
right.
the fears of outing her. So I wonder if that would fall in Stockholm syndrome.
I thought about that too, but one of the things that led me more was the fact that I think that because she was so sheltered, was that Gypsy also liked a little bit of attention. I'm not saying she has Munchausen syndrome herself. All I'm saying is, again, going back to the whole young girl getting attention from boys and all that stuff, I do believe that she wanted to escape the situation and living under her mother's thumb the whole time, and then all of a sudden you got this other boy who comes along with options available he makes to you, that for her part she only saw certain options available to her, that being murder being one of those, and so I don't know, I think that she felt like, I wanted out of here. At one point she talks about how she says, I just want out of here. It's not even that I want to kill my mom, I just want out of here. It's like, so you're saying that, if the only way out of the house is that door, but it's burning, you're going to go through the burning door. Similar here. If the only way out of that situation was through your mom being dead, I need to get out of here. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her for wanting to get out of that. I don't hold anything against her that says, yeah, anyone in that situation should want to get out of there and do everything they can to get out of there. Do I condone the murder? No. But at the same time, you got to get out of there. Those meds altered her mind. They made her kill and need BDSM. So I don't know how anyone needs BDSM, Sandy.
I think what she's saying is she needed an ass whooping.
Oh.
It's the same thing, right?
Oh man.
One is for pleasure and one is for pain.
Y'all.
Husband's. Oh, go ahead.
My mom put, my husband's ex would make up stories about their kids to get attention and sympathy. She would also read all the pamphlets in doctors' waiting rooms, and lo and behold, she would have all those symptoms.
So that sounds like what's that thing called?
Hypochondria.
There you go. She sounds like she had some hypochondria with a mix of Munchausen in her.
And a mix of brujeria, but that's a different story.
Yeah. So I did hear also about how mom. So with Munchausen syndrome, Munchausen by proxy syndrome, there's usually an issue of some sort of trauma that's done to the one initiating it. And so I did read a little bit about how there was loosely some information about her mom and how she had actually practiced Munchausen syndrome on her mom and was really abusive to her mom, which is interesting because, again, Munchausen by proxy, you usually it's a form of abuse caused on children or elderly. And so that story was corroborated a little bit about from Gypsy, what she could remember from her grandmother when they were younger, and her father, the memories he had. And so she lived with them, and there was a strong possibility that she made her mom sick too.
Oh
Yes.
man.
Kales gets me. Yes, she does. All right, so what do you think? What's your verdict on this story? What's your verdict on this situation?
I don't know. I still stand by that. I think Gypsy is going to have mental stuff for the rest of her life, that she's going to be mentally affected for the rest of her life, even once she gets out of prison. And she's going to need some major therapy if she wants to integrate back into normal society. And I hope to God she doesn't have any children of her own.
Yes.
You know, for the fear of maybe this repeating itself. But, you know, every person deals with their issues differently, and they all heal differently.
Yeah. You know, Kaylee, I don't know if I told you, my wife is a therapist, so
yes.
I
Dr. Pineapple.
I definitely believe in the power of therapy and that it can totally transform a person for the better and
it can
make good outcomes. And so I'm hoping that she falls into that category too.
I hope she does too. I hope that she actually becomes more of an advocate for this type of thing, and definitely reverses this whole situation and maybe turn it into more of an awareness of this kind of behavior. Get CPS more involved, get doctors more involved. Well, to a point, you know, if they see something that they feel is just not right. You know, it's one of those, like, if you see something suspicious, kind of like speak up. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have something looked into if you really have some strong evidence against it. And
even if you don't,
right,
I will call a CPS on you if I think something's going on. I don't care if it makes us not friends anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Now, if your child is screaming in the middle of the store, I am not going to call CPS if you beat that ass.
Oh yeah.
But in today's society, in today's society, that's what people do. So I used to take my son into the bathroom. We're going to have a meeting. You cry, you throw yourself on the floor because you didn't get a toy. Let's go, honey. We're going to have a meeting. I took him in the bathroom.
We're going to have a come to Jesus.
Oh, come on, Kobe.
There were no more tantrums after that.
Yeah. Put the fear of the Lord in you. What about you, Gabbs?
Basically, I agree with Sandy. Dee Dee killed her mom. Her daughter killed her. Cycle repeats. I think when she gets out, this can go one of two ways. One, she can have a child of her own and just things start coming back. I think it's just a matter of her wanting to get that help. Because if she doesn't, because let's be honest, once she comes out, there's going to be questions for her. People are going to bring this all back up to her because it's basically like, oh, you're out. Now we can talk about this and we can ask you this. It's going to come back, but how she takes that is going to be all up to her. I would hope that she can get help on it. And we don't see, hey, Gypsy got murdered or Gypsy got slashed, you know. I hope we don't see that in the future. But it's just a matter of her wanting help. Her mom's crazy. She went a little crazy. Everyone's a little crazy.
Okay. Makes sense. Well, since Sandy's not here, I'll say thank you to the both of you in her place. Kaylee, thank you for coming on and being such a great guest, and hope that you had a good time hanging out with us. I know Sandy wanted to be here, so don't think that she didn't want to be, okay?
She was here by spirit.
That's right. She was here with us in spirit.
Yes, she was.
And in comments.
And in comments, yes. I hope Eric is okay with that because I imagine she's kind of off in the bathroom, just kind of sitting, just being like, oh, I don't want to go move or box anything else up.
That's what I was
I'm gonna
gonna
watch
say.
my show.
As long as it's not a McDonald's bathroom, we're good.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, let's not. Yeah, ooh, gross.
Oh man.
And then Gabbs, thank you for coming on also and hanging out and filling in for Sandy because this is Sandy's show and it's right that someone like you would be in here and filling in for her. Okay.
She would be so proud. I said a cuss word on her show.
Yeah, let's never do that again. Okay, just for my sanity. And are you in pajamas right now?
I am. Y'all, check out these super cute Christmas pajamas. They have them at Target.
I think they're adorable.
Okay. I'm just wondering
They have little red
I was just wondering where I could get my own pair. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Didn't know.
You should just get the whole family some, and you guys can take your Christmas pictures.
Right?
Yeah. So everyone, thanks for hanging out with us today. Don't forget, Annie's still adoptable out there. So if you find you need to add an animal to your home,
I do. Sorry.
You need to add an animal to your home?
Always.
Oh, okay. Well, Annie's available for adoption. Yell at Sandy for that. She will get you the adoption info. I think I do have a picture I can show real quick. I think. Oh no, it's there though. I'll just take it off so you can see. There's Annie. So she's adoptable right now. She does look pretty cute. I know. Also, don't forget that the 5K run, the Pineapple Project's 5K run is coming up. If you want to be a part of that, you just got to send it to Sandy, email Sandy. She can get you the information. Just message her on Facebook. She'll get you the registration form. Remember, there's no sign-up fee for it. You bring a toy, and that is what covers your sign-up fee. The Pineapple Project is looking to support Christmas is for Kids, an organization in Lubbock where we try to give kids some toys for Christmas. Okay? You can also send me, not me, you can send us, if you want us to pick up the toy for you, you can send us money. Here, you can use the Venmo at the Pineapple Project, and we will take that money, no profit. It's all going to go buy toys at the Walmart, Targets, whatever, and donate there. If you want to drop them off at the Comet Cleaners around town, feel free to do that also. If you have toys or something that you want to donate from any of the kids from birth to 18 years old, and you want to get them picked up, let us know also. We can send out our little pineapples to go grab them from you at your house. What else do we have? Oh, Kaylee and Omar, her husband, they are going to be helping us raffle. We're going to raffle off a giant pineapple because they have a business called, actually, we need to do that. I'm going to let you kind of tell us a little bit about that, Kaylee. When you're unmuted.
Oh, I got you. Oh, I can't. You got to do it.
I got it. Sorry. My German Shepherd came bursting through the door and there was ruckus going on. So I wanted to mute because I do need more dogs in my life.
Yeah, you do.
My husband would say otherwise.
Yeah.
We do a woodworking side hustle, side business. He makes these wonderful, there it is. There's a double T because I go to Texas Tech. But yes, so we make a bunch of creations I come up with the ideas, he does all the work, and making all these creations out of wood, and it's called Militia Design Ops, simply because we're both former military. Everything is military related in our world, but we're gonna make a giant pineapple, and we're gonna
raffle it off. So hopefully, once we get that up, we'll get a picture out so y'all can see it. I cannot wait to show y'all some of the stuff that Kaylee and Omar are working on for some of us, though, because it's pretty fun. So yes, stick around, hang out but watch for more of that to come around. And I think
Sandy's already put in her order, and I think Momager's on her way with her order. And I know you're already talking with Omar about the stuff that you want. And
Yep. So
keeping him busy. Keep him
Yeah.
busy. Keep him out of my hair.
I'm sure he enjoys hanging out in the shop also. So all right. So yeah, and with that, everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. And oh wait, I'm packing doing more than him. She's packing her closet. Yeah, that might be accurate. Maybe.
We're right there behind him.
Maybe. All right, everyone. We love you. Have a great weekend. And again, Gabbs, Kaylee, thanks for hanging out with us too, okay?
Thanks for talking sheet with us.
Yes.